CJ Perry, the former Lana with WWE and Miro's hot, flexible wife, was on the Busted Open podcast or Busted Open Radio with Dave LaGreca and Bully Ray. And they were talking about her upcoming project with the Surreal Life. She's on the return of the Surreal Life with all the ex-celebrities or whatever, the washed-up celebrities, and they cram them all into a house and make them live together. I love that shit. It'll be fun. It's a giant train wreck waiting to happen. But it was in this conversation here that CJ was talking with Bully Ray, and Bully asked Lana straight up, how come Miro's not being used as much as he should be on AEW TV? And her response was quite interesting. Check out this clip.
How is he enjoying his time in AEW?
I mean, he wants to be champion, so he's not going to be happy until he's champion. I'm just going to leave it at that.
Okay.
So, and rightfully so. I mean, he always goes, if I got in a real fight with these people, I would destroy them and crush them. And that is very valid. So, period.
One of the things that I have been critical on this show is I don't think they use Miro nearly as much as they should be using him. And his character is so believable, so credible. He's such an accomplished worker. He's got fantastic psychology. Why do you think somebody with as much talent as your husband is used as sporadically as he is?
Oh, God, I have a lot of opinions about this. I definitely... Tony Khan has a vision. At the end of the day, like, let's just really, if it's 100% real, I think there's this illusion at AEW that the talent booked the show. The talent basically, that was definitely like the conversation, like, oh, you go there, you're going to basically become whatever you're made of. But at the end of the day, he's booking the show. It's really no different than WWE. It's just a different director and a different person's point of view. It's like comparing NBC to HBO. But at the end of the day, you still have the exec who's going to make that final call. And that's what it is. Like, Tony Khan has his favorites, and he's going to push the favorites, just like Vince would push his favorites, just like Hunter's going to push his people. And it's show business. It's nothing personal. It just is what it is. And I don't know. I think my husband's incredible. I feel Vince really valued him in that way and saw that. They hit heads a lot of times towards the end on creative differences. Vince really wanted him as a villain, and Miro wanted to explore this new world. Again, I just take it like I do Hollywood. Like, it's casting, it's the director, it's the showrunner. And at the end of the day, we're hired talent. So, if you really don't like the person that you're working for, then go start your own wrestling promotion. See how that goes for you.
That was very interesting. She was hesitant in the interview to say that she would want to go work for AEW. She was asked, I think by LaGreca before this question, do you have any interest in going to work with AEW? What's the difference between AEW and WWE? It's a different place to work. Would you be interested in going there? And she kind of tiptoed around it a little bit. And then when Bully asked this question, I mean, Lana, she seemed like she was apprehensive to fully answer at first. And she's just like, look, Tony's the boss over there. He's got his favorites. And if he, he's going to push them guys. I don't know why Miro's not one of his favorites. This is what frustrates me so much about AEW, and this is one of those things that is making me lose faith in Tony Khan. I mean, I'm pretty much there. You know what I mean? I was a very solid AEW guy for a long time, but I'm getting to the point, or have gotten to the point now, where I've just lost faith in Tony Khan, because I don't think he's not the booker that he thinks that he is, or that he puts himself out there to be. He's had glimpses of some really great booking, but just the way that he uses people is absurd. You know what I mean? Like FTR, like now it looks like the FTR is probably going to start to come around to, they got that number one contenders match. I think they're going to get put in the rotation now, but I think it's almost too late. Like they were hot 3 months ago, when they were coming off their feud with the Briscoes and they won the Ring of Honor titles. That was the time to push them towards. Really, it should have been what you should have done was built to the tag team fucking, the rubber match for winner takes all against the Young Bucks at All Out. That's what you should have did. And we don't know for sure, but apparently, the Young Bucks played their politics, didn't want to work with FTR, didn't want to lose to FTR, and they just wanted to go do their little trios bullshit instead. And yes, Swerve in Our Glory and the Acclaimed had a great match, and all of that's fine, but we all know that those belts belong to FTR. And that was their moment. That was their time. That's when that should have happened. And it's a sign of shitty booking. And even, the Young Bucks playing politics shouldn't have meant anything. Because Tony Khan at the end of the day is the boss. Fuck you guys. This is the direction we're going to go because this makes the most sense. A good wrestling product will write itself, right? The storylines, they present themselves naturally based on where the talent's positioned and everything. Like FTR is getting over, you push them towards the tag team titles. And they already had their history with the Bucks. Like it's easy. This is easy shit, but the fact that he didn't go there shows that he's not that great of a booker. And to bring it back around to Miro, how are you going to have a guy like Miro on your roster and he's not even on TV, let alone pushed in the main events? This guy would be maybe still just a dominant TNT champion. I don't know about still, but he'd be the predominant TNT champion. Or if not, working in the main events already. Like, is Miro a difficult person to work with backstage? We haven't heard this necessarily. He seems like a pretty chill guy, to be honest with you. He's talented as all fuck, and he's over as all fuck. So why on earth would you not be pushing him or even have him on TV? Do the Young Bucks not like him? Kenny Omega doesn't like him? Is that it? Chris Jericho doesn't like him for some reason? I can't imagine that. Miro was on Jericho's podcast. Miro talks fondly of Chris. CJ was on Jericho's podcast, so I don't think he's holding Miro down. Does Tony just not like Miro? Did he rub him the wrong way? Did Miro flex on him or something? And Tony afraid Miro's going to beat him up over a contract? Like, what? Seriously, what? Why would you not? There has to be a good reason, because Miro's not even on TV, and he's not injured. It's dumb. And just, we're going to throw him in this token angle with the House of Black. None of that made sense, other than just getting the opportunity to tag team with Sting, which is always a bucket list thing, and I'd be all for it if I was Miro. But then what do you got for me? Come on, let's go. I wouldn't be surprised if he was a guy that would be looking to jump back to WWE. That was the rumor before, but then, it kind of came out that Miro he's pretty solidly AEW still. But Lana seems to paint a different picture. She tried to tiptoe around it, but she was very much, made it sound like there's more to this than meets the eye. Not that there's necessarily like heat or a beef or a big story here, just that AEW is not necessarily what it's cracked up to be. And that Miro not being used is because he's not on Tony Khan's favorite toys to play with list. It happens. We all had our fig feds when we were kids, right? We had our fig feds. I had a couple figures that, I mixed the Hasbro WWE guys in with the, they had WCW at the time I think Galoob made them, but I'm not sure, but they had like the really rock hard ones. And I mixed them in and they worked fine, even though they didn't move really. I was able to work with them. But there were a couple guys that were very difficult to work with. Like, I think there was one that had like a headlock feature, and it's like his arm was like permanently like Ron Simmons. It was Ron Simmons. He was shaped like this the whole time. And it's like, how do you have a professional wrestling match when he doesn't, what are you supposed to do with this? You know what I mean? Like a shoulder tackle? So I didn't play with him all that much. It wasn't a racist thing, okay? I didn't not play with him just because he was a black action figure. You fucks. His arm was like this. Like, what are you supposed to do with that? You can't do anything with that. So maybe Miro is a oddly shaped figure for Tony Khan, and it's just so he doesn't get played with as much for some reason. I don't know, man. Miro would be a top guy in my federation, a top guy. I don't know that he would be the guy. He wouldn't be like my champion, but he's in that mix always. You know, he's up there for sure. But at the end of the day, it's Tony Khan's company and he can do what he wants. I just think it's depressing, especially because, look, man, you went out and hired Jim Cornette just did a podcast where he went through the entire AEW roster, and there's like 767 people on that roster. Like, you're not even using half of those guys. What are you doing? And like, some of them are big stars that he's not using, like Miro. It's unthinkable. This guy could be saving himself tons of money on his roster. I don't know if he's just tying people up so WWE doesn't get him, but he could literally cut half of his roster and still fill out both of his shows and the fucking dark tapings and stuff with ease. And he's got all those people that he doesn't use, and he still brings in people from the indies. He just fucking signed Juice Robinson and Bandito. Now he's got 769 people on his roster. Why? Nothing against Juice or Bandito. They're great. They're fine. I appreciate them. And maybe he's expecting, well, we got all this Punk money that we're not going to be paying out pretty soon. I don't know. It's really a shake your head situation. Like, how you have a guy like Miro on your roster and you don't use him to his full potential. You don't use most of your guys to their full potential. It's an absolute joke over there. It's making me lose complete faith in AEW's booking. He needs a booker. He needs to bring in a booker. He can be the owner. And he can be the final say. You know, he can be in them booking meetings and he can say no. But he doesn't need to be the guy like creating stories and deciding everything. And fuck, even then, you know, him being the where the buck stops here, if he just doesn't like Miro, he's just not going to use Miro. But it's a shame because that guy, I feel like he's so immensely talented. He never lived up to his full potential in WWE. He was used poorly by Vince. And then he went over to AEW hoping that would change. And now he's being used poorly by Tony. And he's wasting the best years of his career doing jack all shit.
Oh yeah, thanks for checking out the video. Yeah, don't forget to subscribe. Don't forget to like it if you liked it. Yeah. You can check out full episodes each and every Sunday right here on the channel. Ooh yeah, dig it!